welcome to a Chasecation recap for the Meso Mamas. I am Lisa.
I'm Heather.
And we are doing a second round of this. The first one we were blurry. Take two. Bing bong. Take two. We went out for our Chasecation, our second annual Chasecation this past May 20th through the 28th. Does that sound right to you?
Something like that.
Something like that. We were out. It was actually a very slow chase season, so we actually spent a lot of our time doing sightseeing and stuff, but we did have two really cool chases that we'll talk about on this video. But before we get started with that, we went and what was this, a death ridge that we encountered this year? And is that what that was?
I think we're in the death ridge now, but I'm not...
I don't know. We've been death ridging for a while, but essentially what happened was we left for Chasecation with no storms on the horizon, not for at least 3 or 4 days after we left. So we decided to knock out some bucket list items for sightseeing, and we went towards New Mexico, which was cool. I've never gotten to explore New Mexico, so we stopped in Roswell. Cue some spooky UFO music. Before we made it there, we made it to the Carlsbad Caverns, which were awesome. And then upon making it to Roswell, had awesome coffee, and then made our way in 2 different directions. I went to White Sands, and you did some awesome rock and geode hunting in Artesia. Is that correct?
I think it was still in Roswell proper, but it was like in the middle of nowhere, and it was amazing.
What did you find?
I found what are called Pecos diamonds, which I think is just quartz, but just really pretty double terminated quartz pieces, and a bunch of gypsum, and a lizard, a short horned lizard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
I didn't hear
cool
about that guy. This is news to me.
Yeah. It was. I managed to pick it up, and whenever I picked it up, its mouth, like, I don't know, I'll have to show you. It was really interesting. But then I thought to myself, this thing looks like it might spit something out, like...
Jurassic Park style.
Exactly.
So after the rock hunting and a trip to White Sands, which was incredible and life-changing, we finally got our first chase in, and that was May 23rd. And that's we were out on the Morton cell day, and we were on the Morton cell for a while, but there was so much wind and so much sand that there was zero visibility, absolutely none where we were. And of course, while this was before it went tornado warned, it looked like it was gathering steam, but it kind of just looked messy. And we knew leading up to that day that there was a good chance that it was going to be a linear situation. And while this cell to the south, where the Morton cell eventually was, while this thing was doing its thing down here, north was a tornado-warned cell near Bovina. And so we made the call with our friend Nicholas and his wife to go up north to try to get a shot of that, because there was nothing we could see where we were near Morton.
And we were getting sandblasted.
Totally sandblasted. It was insane. And like, you've seen the footage of the Morton cell at this point. The tornado is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I'm so sad. I'm so sad that we missed it, but I really don't know how we would have known, how we would have positioned ourselves based on what, I mean, like, I think just a handful of very lucky people got some incredible footage that day and some incredible pictures, but we were not one of them. So we ended up heading towards the north cell, towards Bovina, where we, on the way, had this great scene where we actually do see this tornado in the background, way off in the distance.
Yeah, it was a very short-lived tornado.
But it was cranking. We did. It counts. Count it. Yeah, we saw it, and so we were really sold on heading towards the Bovina cell. And when we got there was a white funnel that kind of looked like it was lifting in front of us, if I recall correctly, right? Like
it was.
We saw a lot of stuff on that cell. So Bovina cell happened. Then the next day, May 24th, historically a very good day for the Meso Mamas, because May 24th, 2021, we caught Selden. Such a good day. Such a good day. And so May 24th, I think, will forever be our lucky day, because on that day we caught the Midland tornado. I guess it was technically the Garden City, Texas.
I would say the tornado caught us.
The tornado caught us.
But yes.
We essentially accidentally, we'll be honest, zero metered an EF2 tornado.
It was not intentional, and we do not recommend it.
No. So for those who probably saw our video, the very amazing video with Heather's hilarious line of,
"Oh my, you're fucking the bear too closely, so you gotta stop."
and me with all of my terrified, kind of confusing sounds that were happening because there was a lot, moans would be appropriate. We were approaching this cell. We had been, let's back up. That day we had begun chasing near San Angelo, and we were chasing in San Angelo, and there was this beautiful cell that we were watching for a while that was spitting out hail, and we were on it with a ton of other chasers. It was beautiful. It didn't do anything, and it became kind of a blob right over San Angelo.
It became messy pretty quickly.
Yeah. So we were torn between, at that point, a cell near Midland was tornado warned, and that, I mean, at that point, Midland was like, what, an hour and a half plus away? I was like, well, that doesn't seem feasible, but it is tornado warned. Our plan was to head up towards Colorado Springs to go visit friends the next day after the cell was over. And then we, as a chase team, we'll be honest, we had a pretty rough disagreement about what we were going to do. It is very hard as a chase team to always be on the same page about what you want to do. And we had a disagreement on the Round Rock day where you saw something I didn't, and I disagreed with you, and I made a call, and it cost us a shot of this beautiful wedge, the Granger tornado. And, you know, sometimes you mess up, and that happens, and it's hard. Yeah, it's just hard.
We're human.
We are human. So we were trying to decide what the next step was going to be, and we had been on this San Angelo cell for a while and had driven basically from the Midland area to San Angelo, only to drive back to Midland that day. So
That's the name in the game of this stuff, though.
Yeah. So there was a tiny pixel of rotation that looked like it was worth potentially checking out on the San Angelo cell, and we had a disagreement about that. And it was I would say it was a pretty big fight, but but we're friends.
It was also more than that. There was also some to me, I feel like it was more than that.
Okay.
Right?
Elaborate.
Well, whenever you are in the same space with anyone, your best friend in the whole dang world, just anyone, whenever you're in the same space with someone confined in a car, you know, and in hotel rooms and whatnot, you're bound to have differences and opinions and disagreements and annoyances or whatever. And I think at that point it just kind of came to a head for me, and I kind of we had a disagreement, but we got over it. We made up and we decided, you know what, the cell in Midland is doing its thing. We have to go up that way. We'll be able to, let's just check it out. Also, in addition to the fight, as we were trying to decide what to do, the Uvalde shooting.
The news of that was coming out. Right. And that was, it was hard to kind of chase, understand the gravity of the situation, have this disagreement all at once,
Emotions were high.
And then,
they were already high, but then we heard about that happening, and it was just...
It was too much at once. And so we leave San Angelo, head towards Midland, and the cell is still tornado warned the entire time. And did it drop it at any point? I don't recall. I feel like it dropped it for a little bit, but I could be wrong.
I think it did drop it, and that's whenever we decided to go deep inside of whatever what we thought was a haboob.
Yes, we had convinced ourselves that what we visibly could see, looking at the cell itself in person, it looked haboob-like, which we'd never seen before. It did not have the look of a traditional supercell from our vantage point. And we were approaching it from the southeast, and what was happening was we were coming from Garden City towards Midland, and there was the cell was kind of rapidly approaching our north-south corridor, and we were approaching it. So we were coming together, do that math test, right? We're like, train leaves here, train leaves here. So we approached it, and we see what we believe to be a rain-free base to the south. And we're maybe 1.5 miles from our north-south corridor. So it's fine. Maybe we just drive into this haboob so that we can drop south to get that rain-free base. And it was just wild. Contrast was kind of just wild. You couldn't, there wasn't a lot of clarity in what we were looking at when we approached the cell.
You just see a big, dark
Yes, and it's
Big
to the
dark.
ground. And so we thought, haboob. And we drive into the cell and we think we are inside of what is a haboob because it's just unusual to us. And we go inside and you notice right off the bat that there are rain curtains in there, similar to what you would see in the bear's cage. And I was like, haha, maybe this is what
Right.
haboobs look like
Yeah.
on the inside.
I didn't know haboobs had rain clouds. That was cool.
Rain curtains,
Or, sorry,
yeah.
rain curtains.
And then it got really intense really quickly. And the first clue that something was wrong was the rain curtains. And I thought, well, maybe I just shrugged it off like, haha, it's fine. It's a haboob. The second thing that was weird was a power flash.
Yep.
And there were power lines on both sides of us. And I was
And
like,
again, in
haha.
my head, I was like, oh, strong winds. You know, it's
Exactly.
not a tornado. It's just strong
It's
winds.
just strong winds. And then my ears popped. Oh, did your ears just pop?
No.
Mine did. And that was when I knew we were actually in quite a bit of danger as opposed to just driving into a haboob. We were not going to make it to our north-south corridor. No. We were in a tornado. And so at that point, power flashes are continuing in front of us, which would be northwest of us. And I turn the RAV4 around, and that's in our video clip. You can see another power flash as I'm turning, and it seems very obvious when the dash cam footage is cranked up. We turned our back on a tornado. We made a mistake there.
We turned our back on a tornado just to turn our faces to more tornadoes. We were just surrounded by vortices.
Yes, this was a multi-vortex tornado. We have footage of multiple vortices doing its thing all over the highway. And we turn around and it's just dancing. They're all dancing in front of us. And you can't get out of it that way because there are tornadoes that way. And then behind us is just, well, we don't know. Power flashes. So we know, okay, we're going to stay put. I knew that the RFD was coming. RFD blast was coming. And so we just had to kind of grin and bear it. And so I'm freaking out. You turn into the most amazing mom mode I've ever heard. I mean, you did some jokes with the whole, like, you're fucking the bear too close, which is like my new.
I didn't mean for it to be a joke. It was like, it just came out as like, I mean, how other way could you describe what was happening?
That stems from the fact that we turned around and I, in a as you described, in a Helen Hunt moment, wanted to continue to be with the tornado, but was also very afraid of it. So I was braking the RAV4, but not really. And it also stemmed from terror that I was like, my legs were shaking, so I wasn't doing a good job stopping the car.
No.
We definitely got in over our heads on this one. And while it was an overall kind of cool event after the fact, we definitely would not recommend doing what we did.
We're lucky to be alive, I think.
Yes, absolutely. The RFD crush after the fact was probably, in my opinion, was more terrifying than driving through the tornadoes because we didn't know immediately until the immediate danger was over what we had just done. Yeah. And then we had to sit through extraordinarily high winds, crazy hail.
Ping pong, I think it was ping pong ball size hail.
Yes, yeah, and we were just sitting there in the dark. Power lines were down near us, and we just sat there. I'll be honest, I saw him because it was after everything, San Angelo, the shooting, our argument, everything was just too much, and then that happened, and I was like, it just took the floor out from underneath me.
Understandable.
Yeah, it was a lot at once. So.
And I'm surprised that I kept my S together.
I'm so proud of you.
I have no idea how it happened, but it did.
So we held each other while the hail was coming down on the RAV4 and away from the windows because it was pretty intense. And then we made it out on the other side, and then I fell apart. We, as a team, on May 24th, drove through an EF2 tornado outside of Midland, Texas, near Garden City. And that was an experience I personally will never forget. And yeah.
The storm itself was incredible. The moments after the storm, driving away from it towards Lubbock, I think.
Yes, we stopped in Lubbock that night. Yeah.
The clouds were incredible. Saw a big, beautiful roll cloud. And just, yeah, it was an incredible and a beautiful storm.
Yeah. So we had 2 tornadoes that we that we saw from afar and then saw not very afar at all. And but yeah, we made it through that. We had we recovered from that.
We had a celebratory drink.
Yes.
For celebratory as in like, oh, we're alive.
Yeah. Some good gin and
celebrate
tonics, our favorite.
Yes.
Proud of us. Yeah. So we had some gin and tonics at a hotel bar and then made our way up to Colorado to visit with some friends for a few days where we got to do some cool stuff. You went on a like several hour hike alone.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 hours.
Was it that long? Jeez.
It was
a minute, yeah.
It was a long time. It was great though.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. And while you were there, I visited Manitou Springs and did a little bit of, I guess, Red Rock. Is that what was around?
Garden of the Gods?
Garden of the Gods is what we did later together. But yep, then we saw Garden of the Gods and enjoyed some time in Colorado Springs where we got to visit with a lot more of our chaser friends from Discord and whatnot, and it was a whole thing. Colorado's fun. So, but
thank you to a public thank you to Spencer and Gavin for hosting us.
Yeah, you guys are great hosts.
Yes.
The burgers, Spencer, I'm still thinking about those burgers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still thinking about them to this day. Life. But Chasecation is over for us. That's a wrap on our, at least spring season for 2022. It looks like we'll both be up in the Michigan area at different points coming up. And in Chicago, which just got a tornado.
Did it really?
Or I guess there was a tornado warning storm over Chicago. So I'll be at Lollapalooza. So maybe there will be a Lollapalooza tornado. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
knowing your luck, it would happen.
It might happen. But we had a good season. We had some good catches. Round Rock, Salado, Garden City. For a quiet year when people really struggled with seeing tornadoes, I think we did pretty well up top. Good job.
We sure did.
Good job, babe.
Good times.
Thank you guys for watching. We look forward to bringing you more content in the future. So y'all take care and stay cool out there. Bye.
Adios.